Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Bergdorf. I'm the chairman of the Public Works Committee. I got a call this week from my vice chairman, Chris Smith, who had a family obligation, so he wouldn't be here tonight, and he asked me to extend his consideration and best wishes. So let's go around the room quick and just introduce everybody. Paul
Miller.
I'm John Freer from the 17th District.
Frank Moriello, 27th District.
Joe O'Brien, 25th District, West Albany, Loudonville.
And I'm Paul Bergdorf from Latham, Loudonville, and the Village of Colonnade. With that, the first piece of business is approving the previous minutes. Have the members had an opportunity to review the minutes? And are there any comments, alterations, or observations that we should consider? If not, I would accept the motion to adopt the minutes. So moved by Joe O'Brien, seconded by Frank Moriello. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The minutes are adopted. Okay, let's go to the first items of business. We have Chief Kerry Thompson with us tonight to go over some construction items related to the Sheriff's Department. The first agenda item, number one, is authorizing the Sheriff's Office to enter into an agreement with SEI Design Group regarding construction services at the Public Safety Facility Building Project. Chief?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So basically what that is our public safety building is going, after we purchased it, eventually it took a long process to purchase that facility, but it's the sheriff's vision to make that a state-of-the-art law enforcement facility. And with that, also in addition to that Clarksville building, the renovations that we would need to do in there would also include a garage, a large garage, prefab garage, which we've already purchased with asset forfeiture money. Also to be installed in the back portion so we could house all our emergency equipment that's now housed all over the county in one centralized location so we could care for it and it would be ready to respond to our primary patrol zones. But this contract would be for SEI, which would provide engineering and architecture and engineering services for us. Conceptual schematic design and development, construction documents, bidding assistance, shop drawings, construction administration, inspection and review, right through to the closeout of the project.
Okay. Chief and I had an opportunity to talk earlier. There's also a roof replacement that...
The roof replacement would be part of that. Most of the mechanical facilities are intact and we have a lot of life left in them, so like the heating and stuff like that would be good. But there are, see, like I spoke to you earlier, when we initially bonded this, there were some things that occurred that would, in full disclosure, I want to make everybody aware of that. It's probably going to cost a little bit more than we originally bonded. And what that is the structural evaluation came back with some steel that was deficient in the gymnasium, so that was something we didn't initially account for. The pad that the garage would sit on, we were initially we went out to get 3 quotes. We found out that was not the way to go about it, so it's going to cost us a lot more, so that's going to be an increase. And also, as you know, we're going to utilize DGS to be our construction manager, and we found that this job would probably be too much for them to take on, so we actually have to increase our budget to include a construction manager for this project. The project we hope to be completed in about 18 months. But again, once we get this firm on board, we can talk to them about what we actually, the sheriff may want to cut something out so we wouldn't have to come back for money, but we won't know until we get these guys up and running.
Okay, but in fairness, what I wanted the committee to know was that what is in the capital plan did not anticipate any changes to the structural steel, which they found afterwards, or they had made plans to put in the foundation for the metal building that they've already purchased. But that's going to have to be in add-on, in addition to the fundings that they had they had anticipated. So we want people to be surprised later on.
Right, but again, once we get these guys going, we'll know more once we get these guys involved, and the sheriff may likely decide not to do something else in the building to keep the costs down, mitigate the costs.
And there will be a construction manager you're
Correct.
anticipating doing an RFQ for.
Correct,
Which would assist with the architect in representing you, the owner.
that's correct.
Okay. Any questions from anyone on the committee?
Yeah, you've mentioned structural steel. Is that existing structurals?
Yeah, so throughout the purchase process, purchasing Clarksville School, we had the company come in and do a structural evaluation. And through their structural evaluation, they identified some steel in the gymnasiums that were underground that had deteriorated, that we weren't aware of,
Yeah.
that needs to be replaced. And that's a costly venture.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
So none of these steel problems are caused by the tariffs we've been hearing about lately? It's just existing steel?
No, it's existing steel that had rusted throughout the years because of the design. It was underground, and the way the drainage ran into it, it just rusted over the years.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns, observations? If not, I would entertain a motion moved by Mr. O'Brien, seconded by Mr. Miller. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None? All right, the contract is approved to go to the legislature. Number 2, authorizing the sheriff's office to enter into an agreement with Gilbane Building Company regarding construction management services for the E911 emergency management facility. Chief?
So Gilbane is the construction management company that is currently on site with the nursing home project. We did an RFP for that. We got 2 proposals back. Although Gilbane came in slightly higher, it was like $5,800 higher. We feel that the continuity with them being on site, knowing the details of the operations of the nursing home project, we determined prior to this, that there was areas that they've been involved in, like the asbestos and mold abatement, that we could benefit from. Like if they're not involved, we may not know certain things, like there were certain areas that had already been tested and evaluated through the nursing home project, which without them being on site, we would have never identified. We would have probably paid whatever the asbestos and mold abatement company presented to us, but these guys have they've been working with the power and all the services going in there. I think it's just a smoother transition with them being right on site from the onset. So, yeah, so we did the RFP. We got 2 proposals back. They came in slightly higher, but it would be our desire to proceed with them as our construction manager.
All right. Mr. O'Brien?
Did you get the sign off from legal on the going with the higher bid?
Yes, we did. We
Okay.
scored them, and then we culminated
Okay.
the scores, and they came in as the lowest score.
So the council's office is fine with that?
Through purchasing, was fine with it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Any other questions, suggestions, concerns? If not, I would accept the motion to move forward. Made by Mr. Pierre, seconded by Mr. Cal. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Happy digging.
Yeah, right?
All right, Mr. Bellberg, welcome.
Thank you.
See, you've been very active in terms of renewing your lease agreements.
Yes.
Can we have Bob describe all these together? So-
Yeah. You want to handle it one item and group it, group them, and then consider all.
Does anybody have a concern with grouping them?
I'll make that motion to group them.
Okay,
I'll second
made by Mr. Miller, seconded by Mr. O'Brien. Motion to group them, all those in favor saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Go ahead, why don't you tell us about them all?
Okay.
Bob?
So this is that 3-year mark where we've got 18 suites that are up for renewal as of September 1st. These are the first 4 that have submitted deposits and letters of intent to renew. You might note that we've increased the not the rent, but the advertising share of the total annual cost has been increased by $2,500. So instead of 48.5, it's now 51. We just renovated all the suites. The county sunk some money into the suites and made them much nicer. And certainly the programming has, been there for them. So we've had no suites that have backed down from renewing. And we still have a waiting list of about 20 different companies that are trying to get into the suites. So 51,000 is acceptable. These four, suite number 4, suite number 5, suite number 14, and suite number 15, respectively, it's Albany Broadcasting, Pamal Broadcasting, Jim Morrell's group, it's Rosen Kiernan Insurance in number 5, A1 Ice Equipment in 14, and KeyBank in 15. All four have been suite holders for many, many years, and this is just a renewal for 3 more years.
See, I'm familiar with them all, but they want ice equipment. They're obviously in the ice business.
They are. They actually have other partners that are in there and have been in there for years and years. I think there's 8 different partners in that
So
particular.
they're the general partner
Yeah.
of the group. Okay. All right, any questions from the members of the committee? Observations, suggestions? If not, I would accept the motion made by Mr. Moriello, seconded by Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Thank you, Mr. Bello. All right. Number 7. This is, I think, Commissioner Latino, or 7 is OGS, right? Yeah, 7 is OGS. Commissioner Taylor, I'm sorry.
I'll move over one if you want, Mr. Latina.
No, and it's not Mr. Latina, it's Mr. Cordio. Dave, or Sean, would you please tell us about number 7, authorizing the agreement with the New York State Office of General Services regarding the supply of electricity for various county facilities?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And as you'll see with number 8, our electricity commodity, hedging has come up. We decided to continue with the OGS contract for the next 2 years here to maintain and get both, commodities have the same timeline. This will be for the 4 facilities, the Harold Joyce Building, Family Court, Judicial Center, and Social Service Buildings. Basically, this downtown area was carved out 10 years ago, I believe the original contract was, and they joined the grid down in this area. They got a little bit of preferred pricing at that point. And so when we go out to bid, and you'll see from Mr. Guardio, we're putting our bulk measures into an RFP to see which one and how we would come out better either 2 years from now. Well, next year would be 2 years from now.
As we discussed, at this juncture, we're going to do both on a parallel course, but they're going to have a common expiration date. So 2 years from now, or in preparation for 2 years from now, the county can bundle them both and buy a larger commitment of energy from one entity.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I had asked you if the price, does it differ between the 2 contracts by any
So the commodity,
amount?
with the commodity pricing, we're gonna give you a breakdown. I believe that was the request for both the 4 facilities that this contract holds and for the full package for the direct energy, just so
Okay.
you can have both.
Okay, so we're going to get that perspective in the future.
Yes.
Okay, but do we know if it's...
Since they were holding the pricing on it,
They're holding the existing
Yeah.
price.
and in this market, they're holding really pricing from 2 years ago, so.
Okay. All right. Any questions, observations, concerns? If not, I would accept the motion. Motion by Mr. Miller, seconded by Mr. Moriello. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The matter is passed. All right, number 8, Executive Director Gaudio, in his capacity as a member of the Energy Committee.
Yes.
This has to do with a comparable agreement with Direct Energy Marketing regarding the supply of electricity for a number of various county facilities.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, we're looking to extend the contract for an additional year with Direct Energy Marketing through July 31st of 2021. As was said previously, we're doing this in a parallel track with the OGS contract so that both will expire at the same time so that we can then do a competitive RFP for all the county facilities instead of having them broken out. In terms of the costing, the costs for these are variable, so it's basically market rate, and then basically there's a fixed adder that each company, OGS and Direct Energy, have applied. The way OGS originally did their pricing is a little difficult to kind of, I'll say bracket in terms of kind of a direct comparison of cost. So I guess probably what we'll end up doing is kind of give you a breakdown of 18 as a comparative, basically break down on kilowatts per dollar value for you. But yeah, it's not quite apples and apples in terms of the adder comparison, so it just becomes difficult to kind of do a head-to-head.
All right. Any questions, concerns, observations? If not, we accept the motion. Moved by Mr. O'Brien, seconded by Mr. Cow. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Motion is passed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Raimondo, good evening.
Good evening, Chairman.
Number 9, authorizing an agreement with Betty and Kring for the construction services regarding the superstructure replacement project, CR 202 School Road over Black Creek, and deck replacement of CR 353 over the 10 Mile Creek in the towns of Gilderland and Rensselaerville. Commissioner?
Yes, hi. For one of the structures, County Route 202 over Black Creek and Gilderland, we're going to be replacing the full superstructure. It's an existing concrete box beam structure with concrete deck. We're going to be replacing the concrete beams with galvanized steel and putting on a new deck, doing a little bit of rework on the abutments to accept the new beams and some minor approach work. For the second bridge, County Route 353, it's in Rensselaerville. For that bridge, the steel is in good condition, so we're just doing a deck replacement. We're taking out the existing guide rail as well and replacing it with concrete barrier and doing minor approach work. Betty and Kring was the lowest responsive bidder. They've been doing great work for us, so we're confident that they'll do a good job with these two projects.
Okay. When we had talked, I asked you how we choose which projects we're going to do each year.
Yep.
And you talked a little bit about the DOT analysis program that we have.
Sure. DOT regularly inspects the bridges in the state, and our bridges show up on the inspections. When we receive their ratings, we look at the bridges with the lowest ratings and make a list and start deciding when to add these bridges to our capital program. So, for example, this year, when we're evaluating which projects we're going to be adding for 2024, we'll select bridges off of the list that have the lowest rating and work them into our system.
So these are the bridges, in essence, in the county that have the highest priority for repair and maintenance.
Correct.
And we have, these are category 5?
Okay, well, the cutoff for the state before it's considered deficient in some way is considered a 5.
Okay.
Well, something under a 5 could be considered deficient, and deficient is a very broad term. It could, mean many different things.
Okay, but we have some others that are coming up on the tail of this over the next several months.
We do, yes. We have another structure that's right now out to bid. We haven't got the bid results yet. And, each year in our capital plan, we have a couple of bridges, so.
Great. Questions?
No.
Concerns? If not, I'd entertain a motion by Mr. Miller, seconded by Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
We have one more item. Authorizing an agreement with Callahan Industries for hauling and placing of asphalt concrete on various roads in Albany County.
Yes, this is part of our annual maintenance program where we do about 20 miles of roadway where we mill off the top 2 inches and replace it with 2 more inches of fresh asphalt, new striping as well. We also overlay the 7 miles of roadway that we did cold-in-place recycling, or that we will be doing cold-in-place recycling on this year. So it totals top coating 27 miles of roadway this year. This is all going to be funded with CHIPS funding, so the county gets reimbursed for this. And Callahan was the lowest responsive bidder. There was a $70,000 difference between their bid and the next highest bid.
Great. Any,
Yeah, can you give us, supply the committee a list of the roads that are getting redone?
I have that in the letter. I can tell you right now if
Okay.
you like. Okay. So, let's see here. County Route 1, from New York 85 to New York 443. That's in the towns of Bern and Westerlo. That's about 7.7 miles. County Route 11, which is called Cass Hill Road, from New York 85 to County Route 412. That's in the town of Bern. That's 0.6 miles. County Route 13, Sickle Hill Road, from County Route 1 to County Route 6. That's in the town of Bern. That's 4.7 miles. Let's see, County Route 405, Sunset Hill Road, from County Route 402 to New York 32. That's in the town of Westerlo, and that's 3.6 miles. County Route 412, Airport Road, from County Route 11 to New York 143. That's in the town of Westerlo, and that is 5.4 miles.
Okay, thank you.
all right. Any other questions, concerns, observations? If not, I would entertain a motion. Moved by Mr. Premier, second by Mr. Cal. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Commissioner, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Godspeed. All right. Now, Mike Lally is...
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. So many commissioners.
So many commissioners, so little time. All right. Mike, on behalf of the County Executive's Office, would you take us through the agreement with the City of Albany regarding the installation of bollards and related improvements at the Times Union Center?
Yes. So in 2018, we requested permission to accept a grant from Homeland Security for $50,000, which was approved. We are now in the next step of that process, which is actually agreeing with the city on terms of installing the bollards on their road, which is on South Pearl Street. In addition to the bollards, we're also going to put a pavement coating in, which is kind of similar to sidewalk coating. It's going to span the length between the 2 sidewalks. And we don't have the MOU yet. It's going to be drafted up by the city. So we're...
What is the sidewalk coating?
So the sidewalk coating is most likely going to be a surface called EnduraBlend. And what EnduraBlend is it provides protection to the pavement, but it also can be used kind of as a decorative coating, as well as a slip retardant surface. It's an epoxy of sorts.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And are the bollards all designed and you know what technology you're going to use to affix them? Or?
Yes, they have been. We've been working closely with DPW on that. They have an engineer that's been doing it. I believe it's GPI, who's been doing the engineering for the actual installation of the bollards. So that's all squared away. The designs have been finalized, and they've been approved by the city, the safety specification that we want.
Okay. Now the bollards, they're not permanent. They're not going to sink down yet. They have to be installed for each event.
Correct. So I initially really wanted to go with some that were either pneumatic or motorized that could come up and down. but it's just a spaghetti soup underneath there of utilities going all along
Yeah.
South Pearl. Instead, we'll have sleeves that are installed, and then whenever there's an event or some reason that we need to install the bollards, they'll manually be taken out and placed along South Pearl Street.
Will that be the county's responsibility or the city's?
It'll be the county's responsibility. Bob Belber of the TU has indicated that he'd be willing to have some of his staff actually go out and do the installation. So it'll be a coordinated effort.
Great. Any questions, observations, concerns? If not, I would entertain a motion. Moved by Mr. Moriello, seconded by Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman.
Commissioner Latino.
Good evening, sir.
Number 12, authorizing an agreement with Ricoh USA regarding the lease and maintenance of a high-speed and color copiers for the county of Albany Printing Shop.
Correct. We're dealing with Ricoh right now. We went under a U.S. Communities contract the last time we did this, 4 years ago, which was a great savings to the county back then. I think the savings back then, I think it was close to $60,000 or $70,000 when we went with this contract last time. We brought them back in under the Fairfax County, Virginia contract, U.S. Communities. What they'll be doing is replace, this is for a 4-year contract, they'll be replacing the duplicators downstairs, both the duplicators. And the price actually went down $12,000 a year, again, going through the Fairfax contract. So this is a great program.
Okay, any questions, members of the committee? If not, entertain a motion to approve, made by Mr. O'Brien, seconded by Mr. Miller. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Number 13, authorizing the renewal of an agreement with the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets regarding inspection and testing of sample fuel stored at retail fuel outlets.
Correct. This is a five-year amendment to the contract with New York State. They pay us to go out and take the samples, and we send them in for octane and any other problems they have at any of the gas stations in the Albany County area. Right now, we take 240 octane samples a year. We have over 100 gas stations that we service.
How many?
Over 100. I win.
We had an over-under going,
Yeah.
how many gas stations?
And what this reimburses us for, the state pays us for the mileage. They pay us for the samples that we have to take out. We take like 0.8 gallons out, to have them tested. They also pay for our hours that our weights and measure guys use, and then they also pay for annual training for the weights and measures.
All right, Frank.
How often are samples taken?
Yearly.
Yearly, from every gas station yearly?
Yeah, if they try and get every gas station a year, but when they start the following year, they go right to the stations that they mix. So it's not every 2 or 3 years. They try to hit these stations every year.
And just out of curiosity, what are the results of most of this testing?
I don't think there's been any problems. I mean, when there is a problem, that goes to the state takes care of it. We just, the fines.
Commissioner, the weights and measures operation reports to DGS.
Correct.
So you also do testing to make sure when it says it's a gallon, that it's actually a gallon?
Yes.
So does this testing happen at the same time when
Yes.
you do your annual inspection?
Yes.
So it's sort of part of the regimen?
Right, and that's when you get the certification, you get the tags on there, and everything's up to snuff on the pumps.
Okay.
Let's move it.
Moved by Mr. O'Brien, seconded by Mr. Moriello. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, measure is carried. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, I believe we've concluded our agenda. May I have a motion for adjournment? Mr. Miller, seconded by Mr. Moriello. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.